Well, hello everybody. It is just rolled over 2 o'clock, so super keen to get started because we've got a lot to get through today. So on behalf of the Australasian College for Road Safety's Local Government Network, it is my pleasure to welcome you to our May Showcase webinar for 2025. And a warm welcome if you're joining us for your first LGN event, and I'm extending that warm welcome to our regular members, a lot of familiar faces I can see online. For those that don't know me, my name is Melanie Suter. I am the chair of the network, and in my day job, I'm the road safety officer for Parks, Forbes, and Lachlan Shire Councils, and we're located right in the middle of New South Wales. Next slide, thanks. So kicking off with an acknowledgement of country. So we acknowledge and pay our respects to the many First Nations of Australia who continue to be the sovereign custodians of their countries and the sovereignty of the Maori in New Zealand. We acknowledge the ongoing traditional custodians of the lands on which we live, work and learn, and pay our respects to elders who have passed on the legacy of knowledge and culture to the future generations. May the sharing of knowledge through Matarunga Maori and Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander ways of knowing, being and doing guide you with wisdom and courage as it enhances our collective futures. Next slide, thanks. So I just wanted to acknowledge that we're coming to you today during National Road Safety Week. It's actually also Global Road Safety Week at the moment as well. So we are really pleased to be able to offer this event which shares knowledge and builds capacity of local government practitioners. And I know there's quite a lot of activity happening right across Australia and the world at the moment to remember those that have been victims of road trauma, and to pledge to do what we can to stop this from happening. Next slide, thanks. So if this is your first event, I just wanted to take a moment to explain to you what the Local Government Network is all about. So we are all members of the Australasian College for Road Safety, who want to look at road safety through a local government lens. So the majority of our members either work directly for local government or they work for organisations that have an interest in what local government is doing in this space, such as state road authorities, local government associations, consultants, etc. We are here to provide opportunities basically for our members to connect with people and with ideas that they may not have otherwise encountered in their business as usual lives. And we hold a monthly event. It's usually at this time, so it's the second Wednesday of the month at 2 o'clock Australian Eastern Time, to share successes and collaborate on ideas and to get help for any issues that you might be experiencing. So thanks for joining us. Next slide. So a little bit of housekeeping. So you would have noticed when you registered today that we've got an extra speaker for today. So thank you to Leslie from the college for being here to walk us through the award nomination process, as awards have just opened. So we will run a little bit over normal 60 minutes today. And I do apologise if you do need to leave early, that is totally okay. But rest assured, like most webinars, we are recording it. So you will be able to watch it back in about a week's time. It'll be available on the members area of the college's website. So what we will do is we'll let Leslie go first, and if you've got any questions for Leslie, we'll do those, and then we will roll into the usual showcase webinar format. So we'll have our three presenters, and then we'll hold all those questions until the end for a panel discussion. Next slide, thanks. So if you want to ask a question and you're new to Zoom, so we do that through the Q&A function. That's what it looks like in the screen grab there, the Q&A. We have enabled the vote up. So if there's a question that you see there that you'd really like to make sure that we ask, please vote for it. And I'll be keeping my eye on that as the webinar progresses. If you'd like to just make general comments, that's so you can do that in the chat function as well. Next slide, thanks. So welcome to our presenters who are here today, and a huge thank you for sharing your time and knowledge with us, especially as it's Road Safety Week and we're all really busy. So I will introduce you as we go. So first up, so we'll go to the next slide. Sorry, Brett. I'll introduce you as you go. So first up, we've got Leslie Tipping from the Australasian College for Road Safety to walk us through the Road Safety Awards that have just opened. Leslie, I'll pass the microphone to you.
Thanks, Mel. Hi, everyone. Yes, this week, as of Monday, we opened up the ACRS Awards, and This year we recognise, like other years, we recognise and celebrate all the individuals and initiatives that are making significant strides in road safety or towards road safety across Australasia, really. So we're looking Australasia and beyond, so right across the world where all our members are coming from. And that's new this year. So the period for the awards, as I said, it's opened up this Monday, just gone, the 12th of May, and we'll be running the award submission nomination period until Friday, the 20th of June, 5 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time it closes. So you've got a bit of time. The next slide, if you could, Brett. We have 5 significant categories this year. So we've got the Fellowship Award, which has been around for some time, about 20 years now, I think it is. The Young Leaders Oration Award, Women in Road Safety, Excellence in Road Safety, and our new one, the Road Safety Reporting Award. And I'll just quickly run through each really quickly. So Brett, if we can move to the next one. The Fellowship Award, as I said, established in, well, it's over 20 years, obviously, 1991. Recognises and celebrates a career of excellence. So this is people who've been in road safety for a long time and who are still contributing. So yeah, that's a pretty long-standing and fantastic award. And you can see in the photo here, Eric Howard, who won it in 2024. On our next slide, we've got the Young Leaders Oration Award. So this one we established in 2019. This award is for anyone working in road safety, leadership and innovation, and is up to the age of 40 years or under. Every year we've always had a 10-minute oration, which is part of the award. Last year's winner was the late Prasanna Prabhakian, who was outstanding in what he did in his leadership, and he worked with Transport for New South Wales or the Centre for Road Safety. We have now named the oration in his honour. So going from 2025, anyone that wins the Young Leaders Oration Award will deliver a 10-minute oration, and that's in the name of Prasanna, so just in his memory. Next one, please. Women in Road Safety Award. So this recognises any women who are significant leaders in road safety. So female leaders in road safety who are also encouraging other leaders in road safety. The next one is the Excellence in Road Safety Award. So we have last year had 2 of local government members who actually received the highly commended for this award. So this one is a submission base, and it's based on any project that you've delivered and looking at aspects such as the systematic, societal and environmental factors, the government's factors, if it can be replicated, just parts like that, which are something that can be actually reused and have made a significant difference to road safety. This is a great one for local governments to put their projects in for. And the final one in the list is the new one, the Road Safety Reporting Award. This has got 2 factors to it. So our members can nominate an amazing bit of road safety reporting that they've seen. So it can be in print, can be through TV, radio or online. And so you would nominate the journalist that has delivered this piece of work, or if you know of any journalists who have delivered outstanding pieces of road safety reporting, they can nominate themselves. So I ask, please share it about. I've already got some journalists who have committed to putting some in. So that's pretty fantastic. And it's going to be a really interesting year because we've got so many great awards on offer. Just as I mentioned the timeline before, we open this week and we will close the nomination submissions on Friday 20. The winners are notified about 5 weeks before the conference begins. And there's a bit of a judging process that goes on afterwards. We have to make sure there's no conflicts of interest with the judging. So that will happen after. The winner of these awards receives and that's on the next one for me, Brett, if possible. Thank you. You get a glass trophy, that'll be a paperweight, and you get to deliver a 2-minute presentation at the ceremony, lots of photo opportunities. You will also receive registration to the conference. And this year we're holding the conference in Perth. And you'll receive return flights to the conference and back, plus 1 night of accommodation, which is when the awards ceremony is. And the awards is on the Wednesday night, and it's a gala dinner. If you did win the Young Leaders Oration Award, you would be delivering a 10-minute oration, and it's a road safety topic of your choice. So anything you wish to talk about within road safety. That's pretty much it. If you wish to nominate, get in there. You can scan that code, or you can visit our website and look at about and awards. If you've got any questions at all, I have just put my details into the chat, and so you can email me and get cracking.
Wonderful. Thank you,
project.
Leslie. Yep. Haven't seen any Q&As pop up for you. It's pretty self-explanatory. So
yeah, on the website. So have a look. And if you know any questions, if you're not sure, we have actually redone all the questions this year. So we've got a new format. So yeah, we're asking for particular information, but we've not probably got as many questions, and we've got a significant word limit. And if anyone's thinking, oh, it's too hard to answer them, put all your details. If you don't know how to write, if you're not confident with your writing, you can even put it into ChatGPT just to give you, your word limit. So put in whatever you want to say and ask for a word, an edit on it to put your word limit down so it fits into the boxes that we've got.
Wonderful. That is a great hot tip. Thank you, Leslie. We'll let you get back to finishing the alert for this week so that we can all read that. Cheers.
Yeah, make sure you read it. Yeah, no.
Yep.
Okay. Thanks, everyone. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you, Leslie. All right, let's move on. Thanks, Brett. So now we're into the official showcase webinar part of the program. So it is my pleasure to welcome our first speaker, Nicole Coaker from Main Roads WA, who's going to be talking to us today about the Vanguards program that is run in WA. So Nicole, over to you. You've got your microphone muted.
Hi, everyone.
Awesome.
Sorry about that. My name's Nicole Coaker, and I'm from Main Roads, Western Australia. So I'll be giving you a short overview of our local government road safety Vanguards program. So for those of you that don't know too much about Western Australia is the largest state in Australia. It covers 2.5 million square kilometres, and currently there are 139 local governments tasked with over 70% of the West Australian road network in that large space. Western Australia has one of the highest crash rates in Australia, and on average, over 50% of all fatal and serious injuries that occur on the local government network. Thanks, Brett. The National Road Safety Strategy is clear about the need to build and retain safety engineering capability, secure stronger engagement between state and local governments, and work towards embedding road safety as a key reporting requirement for the sector. So far, Main Roads have become more engaged in delivering the Regional Road Safety Program on the local government network, delivering a low-cost safety solution program on the urban road network. This program has been in operation since 2021 and is proving very effective. We also have a local government road safety manager whose role is to specifically help and visit regional local governments. They're usually the governments that don't have the road safety expertise, so they are there to help conduct road safety audits and define possible solutions. So this leaves Main Roads with a focus on building capability in the local governments, and this is where Vanguards comes in. So the Vanguards program was established in 2023 with the objective of improving local governments' capabilities and also improving safe roads across Western Australia. The program is targeted to the local government engineers and asset management staff, as well as local government executives and elected members to help spread the road safety message. Thanks, Brett. The program has been developed by Main Roads in conjunction with the Centre for Automotive Road Safety Research at Adelaide, and the Western Australia Centre for Road Safety Research at the Western Australian University. The University of Adelaide's Associate Professor Jeremy Woolley is the main presenter for the topics relating to the safe system and its application in the field. He is often joined by other staff members at the university who provide education in other key areas. Professor Teresa Seneric from UWA and her team present on WA road safety data analysts and the behavioural, social and socio-economic components of crashes. Staff from Main Roads and WALGA, the West Australian Local Government Association, also present on issues and ways to solve engineering and other safety issues on roads and roadsides. So the program delivers learning objectives that can be readily adopted, enabling attendees to leave the program knowing how to recognise safety issues on their own roads, develop safety treatment options that will work in their particular area, decide on the most appropriate option, and present their proposal and influence the decision makers around them. The program also provides much needed access for the attendees to talk and negotiate, or not negotiate, but liaise with content experts from Main Roads and the associated universities. It's very big in facilitating networking opportunities, and this will enhance WA's local road network system in a more safer, advanced way. So Vanguards is a 3-day workshop. This slide gives you an idea of the content provided over those 3 days. You can see it provides safe system components, tips for practitioners to pursue countermeasures, and the learning capability of how to champion and influence change. There's also a group exercise that provides experimental learning. So experimental learning is involved as we have on day 2, attendants are broken up into about groups of 4 or 5 participants. We generally try and make sure that the participants are all from different local governments and varying backgrounds. A pre-prepared site package is provided to the attendees, which has information such as the crash history of the site, the traffic data, the counts, the type of vehicles using the intersection, and some aerial photos. The attendees will then visit the allocated site, taking notes, photos, and anything that will help them with their analysis. The groups are then required to develop a proposal to improve the road safety at that site and provide justification that will help influence others with their ideas. On the final day of the program, the groups will present their proposal, gaining feedback from guests, participants, and content experts. The point and the objective of the exercise to incorporate learning from the program into practice and including others and learning from their experiences. This exposes participants to the views of others and provides the practice into thinking. To recap the learning objectives, at the end of the program, Main Roads wants participants to be familiar with strategies to increase road safety, be able to apply safe system thinking to road safety in their local area, have a gained experience in analysing and proposing solutions to selected road safety problems, understand the steps involved in effectively managing and championing change in the road safety context, and have a developed range of championing, influencing tactics to apply to the road safety content in their local area. The Vanguards program has successfully delivered 4 workshops over the past 2 years. 2 have been based in Perth in the metropolitan area and 2 in the regional areas. 1 has been in Bunbury, which is south of Perth, and 1 has been in Geraldton, north of Perth. Those are both large regional centres, but the ongoing idea is to go to some of the smaller regional areas to bring this to some of the smaller shires. Throughout this period, adjustments were made based on feedback from participants. This allowed us to refine the program and better address the needs and preferences of attendees. Feedback has consistently supported the 3-day format, although there has been an increased need and interest in growing for the local government councillors and executives who are often time poor. They would like the opportunity to access the information being offered, but all in a more compact way. So as part of this year's program, the elected members and executives will be invited to attend one full day, and that will be the first day. The first day will be tailored to provide a condensed overview of the content and include different networking opportunities and time to ask questions to the content experts. So for anyone that's interested in WA, this year's workshop is scheduled from the 5th to the 7th of August, and it will be in Perth at the UWA grounds. Going into next year to 2026, we're planning to head to the Wheatbelt region and then in March, and then back into the metro area in August. As you can see, Main Roads is committed to building the capacity of local governments. We have already seen a shift in understanding and the value of road safety in WA, and we're really keen to build on this. Thanks for taking the time to listen today, and I hope you found some of the information interesting and valuable in any pursuits that you may have. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Nicole. So if you've got a question that you'd like to ask Nicole about how that program works or its results, etc., then please pop that into the Q&A and we'll get to it at the end. Nicole's also popped her email address in the chat if you wanted to chase her up after this session. And I do want to acknowledge that she did have an offsider for today who wasn't able to be with us. So Hayley might be the person that is best equipped to answer some of those questions. But yeah, thank you very much, Nicole. Awesome. All right, let's move on. So our next presenter, it is my pleasure to introduce you to Michael Brown from Auckland Transport. And Michael, I don't want to steal all your thunder, but today Michael's going to be talking about the Safer Speeds program that Auckland Transport have recently won an award for. So Michael, I will hand over to you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hopefully you can hear and see me okay. As been introduced, my name is Michael Brown. I'm the Head of Road Safety Engineering and Community Transport at Auckland Transport. And this afternoon, I'm going to do a little presentation on Auckland Transport's Safe Speed programme. I'm going to explain the journey that we went on, and I'm going to share some of our key learnings. Thank you. So back in 2017, Auckland was facing a road safety crisis on its roads. It was good to see Eric on the photographs earlier, but Eric Howard was brought in by the Auckland Transport Board to do a deep dive into what was happening across Auckland, looking at what Auckland Transport were doing, what the police were doing, just the whole gambit of what was involved in road safety throughout Auckland. Thank you. Following the business improvement review, which Eric undertook, it confirmed that there was a significant increase in death and serious injuries in the 3 years previous. The level of trauma hadn't been witnessed in Auckland for over 20 years. And the DSI increase far exceeded any population or vehicle traffic growth. Thank you. Following the business improvement review, we developed our 10-year road safety programme business case. The 10-year programme business case set a clear pathway for change to provide a step change to road safety. It provided the team a mandate to go ahead, to be bold, to do things differently, and to really focus on making a change. Okay. So one of the questions I often get asked is how at Auckland were we able to kind of move things so quickly and to make the progress that we did? And it's quite cliche, but we had a plan, and in that plan, we put people first. We wanted to make sure that we brought people along on the ride. We wanted to be very clear on our why. We wanted to show leadership across the Auckland region and across New Zealand with regards to what we wanted to try and achieve. And AT was seen as a catalyst for change. We work very close to build partnerships and to get stakeholders on board. That involved working with NZTA, Ministry of Transport, Police, SCC, politicians, Auckland Council, various advocacy groups, and more importantly, the people of Auckland. We used our leadership, probably used it more than we should have. We used social media, we used mainstream media, we used every type of outlet to try and get our message across. Thank you. As mentioned earlier, it was really key to engage properly with individuals and with groups. So we focused on getting our mayor involved and getting him on board. We worked very closely with local boards. So New Zealand local boards are they're elected groups who are seen as the voice of communities. We worked very closely with local businesses. We spent a lot of time getting our councillors on board. And board members, etc. There was regular memos, workshops, presentations. And one of the key successes was getting our advocates on board. So working closely with schools, working in cycling advocacy groups. And one of our key partners was the local health board, who was a strong advocate and a strong voice for change. Okay. At this point, I was going to show a really cool video, but today we went to try it and it's been made private. So if we can move on to the next one. The video was basically just explaining our why and explaining all the benefits of implementing safe and appropriate speed limits. And it went into how it's more than just deaths and serious injuries that we would be achieving. And so I'll try and find a link for that. I was pretty gutted when we couldn't show it, but I'll try and get it sent out to the people on this call. So that was all about our why and our what and what we were doing. And so I'm just going to take the next few slides to just explain what we did deliver. So thank you. So the main focus on the original work and then subsequent tranches was looking at our rural areas. We also were keen to make changes within Auckland city centre. We'd identified a number of high-risk town centres, residential areas and other urban roads. We used the Roads and Streets framework to identify the type of treatments for the different roads. So taking into consideration movement in place and then delivering a consistent approach to how we would deal with different types of roads. And that's a quick snapshot of the sort of speed limits we use with different roads. Okay. So this slide just shows the scale of progress that we made. So you can see in 2021, that was phase 1, and it was around 880 kilometres or 11% of the network. And from the map, it's hard to see, but that was very focused on our rural high-risk corridors. And then as we move into 2022, 2023, we delivered phase 2 and phase 3. It accounted for 2,909 kilometres or 38% of the network. And you can see the blue areas there, they're 30 kilometre per hour zones. There was 110 30 kilometre per hour zones installed as part of that work. Okay. So as with anything that we do, it was really important that we evaluated the success of how we were achieving. And as part of the approval to deliver the initial phase, we made a commitment to our board that we would do regular evaluations. So there was a 12-month, 18-month, 24-month and 36-month evaluation that was carried out. Okay. And as part of that evaluation, there was a couple of things that we had to consider early on. Obviously, the first phase was delivered during COVID-19 lockdowns. So that reduced the number of vehicles in the network. There was less congestion and it was just abnormal road user demand. There was also a lot of chat around regression to mean, but we discounted the issues around regression to mean as we were looking at area-wide basis rather than individual roads and based on a specific crash history. Okay. So the initial evaluations were focused primarily on crashes, so injury crashes before and after implementation, but we were also keen to understand what it meant on the road with regards to the speed profiles. So what was the kind of impact of changing a speed limit? We used the rest of the network as a control group. So especially for the first phase, there was a large control group. As we started to deliver more and more, it became harder for us to kind of make sure that control group was robust. But we were confident that we did have enough to compare with. Okay. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly go through the results from the different phases. Thanks. So the phase 1 crash, I'm sorry, I can't see because I've got the screen on. So the phase 1 crash risk evaluation, so that was up until the end of December 2023. We were looking at a 45% reduction in fatal crashes, 19% reduction in deaths and serious injuries, and a 24% reduction in minor injury crashes. Okay. And then when we looked at phase 1 and phase 2, we were looking at a 44% reduction in fatals, 16% reduction in deaths and serious injuries, and a 17% reduction in minor injury crashes. You've noted that it's went down a little bit, and compared to phase 1 and then the combined amount. We knew that the phase 1 roads would give us the best results because they were our higher risk, higher speed rural roads. And we knew that as we moved into the kind of urban network where there are generally lower speeds, there would be less of an impact on deaths and serious injuries. But we've seen additional benefits for implementing those lower speeds in those areas, which I'll talk to in a little bit further on. So thank you. So when we took all 3 phases together, we noted that the average speed change in the rural area was roughly about an 8% decrease and in the urban area 7% reduction. And that gave us a predicted DSI of 24% reduction in the rural area and 16% in the urban area. There was a lot of work done on scaling and under-reporting of crashes. And if you want to see the full evaluation report, I'm more than happy to send it through. It is on our website. But the predicted DSI reduction based on scaling for phase 1 and phase 2, and as I say, using the rest of the network as to compare it against, it was predicted we'd be saving between, 56.4 DSIs per annum. I personally think that's a very, very high number, but I spoke again to the team that undertook the evaluation, and they're very confident that that's an accurate figure. So I've got to trust them on that, but it does seem very high, but it has been very effective. Thank you. So as I mentioned earlier, there's other benefits from reducing speed limits or introducing safe and appropriate speed limits. And we noted that in a lot of our residential speed management programme areas, when we did the surveys afterwards, we noted that there was changes in active modes, and we noticed an increase in the use of active modes. So there's some figures on there, but basically this saying there was a 37% of respondents said they are now taking part in at least one active mode more often. And it did vary over the different projects, but there was a general upward trend in the use of active modes. Thank you. Another benefit that we recorded, and it's one of our SOI targets, was public perception and trust. And so we surveyed a group of random Aucklanders, and we initially asked them whether they opposed or supported the speed limit changes, and it was kind of split down the middle. We had 44% opposed with 43% support. We did get a lot of positive feedback around implementing safe and appropriate speed limits at schools, kindergartens, and other community facilities. And then as part of the survey, we did a little bit of an education talk with them. So we explained the benefits of the programme and the sort of results we were achieving. And then we asked the respondents again to kind of tell us whether they supported or didn't support. And it went from 43% support to 57% support. So it kind of just shows that when we tell our story properly, when we make sure people understand our why, it can change mindsets. It can make people be more supportive of the changes that were made. Thank you. So key learnings, as I say, this has been a few years since we implemented the first phases, so there has been some learnings that we've taken from this. Thank you. So the first one, and it's probably the most important, is to have a clear evidence-based plan. Be really clear on your why, what you're going to be doing, and how effective that's going to be. Then it's around having a very, very clear comms plan. and making sure that you know what you're going to be saying, when you're going to be saying it, you're going to bring people along with the journey, you're going to make sure they understand again our why and what we're doing, and stick to the plan. Don't wobble when you get a little bit of pushback. Just make sure that you're very clear on what you're doing and what you want to achieve. Have lots of early and often conversations. Don't just say it once and move on. Make sure that people have a chance to listen, to take on board what you're saying, and to allow them to come to their own conclusions. Like, don't try and force things upon people. Just make sure that you're having all those chats, you're keeping them involved, you're keeping them engaged. Having a leadership team that's on board is vital. We had an amazing CEO who would front every single public meeting. He was on social media, he was on media, he would be in the paper. He was passionate about what we were trying to achieve. And because of his passion and because he was so behind it, it meant as officers we had that mandate to get on and get things done. And you knew he had your back. Keeping your decision makers informed is very important. We went to the Auckland Transport Board multiple times. We even took them out on a ticket tour on a minibus to show them the different types of roads and what the different speed limits would look like. And that was really, really positive, because it gave them a chance to kind of understand why we were doing it, and they could see that it wasn't making significant differences to travel time, and it just made it. Some of the comments were it felt safer to be driving at those speeds. Try and think ahead. Try and think what type of questions you're going to come up against. We had robust FAQs. We prepared a myth-busting document, which we shared with the Auckland Transport staff, so that when they were having those barbecue conversations, they were able to give some reasonings behind why we were making the changes. Hold the line, similar to what I was saying earlier about don't wobble, but constantly monitor what you're doing, just to ensure that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. So is it in the plan? Is it what we want to be trying to achieve? Is it something that we've agreed that we should be getting done? One of the big successes of Auckland Transport at the time was the development of a cross-purpose team from across the business. And it was filled with people in the team, across the business, who could make decisions. Having people in the room that can make a decision on budget or on direction meant that we could keep momentum and we could keep moving at pace, and to help focus everyone on delivery. And then one of the learnings that we got through the process was making sure we do listen to our communities, but focusing on working with the willing. Work with communities that want to see a change. When people see that the sky doesn't fall when you make the changes, then that's when they start requesting it. Don't see making changes to your plan as failing. Even small steps forward to the end goal is better than getting stuck in the mud. Thank you. So it wasn't just us who thought we were awesome. The team, and it was kind of touched on earlier, have received some national and international awards as part of the work we've done in the programme. Okay. Probably the one that we're most proud of was the Prince Michael of Kent International Road Safety Award that was held in London. The award, endorsed by an international panel of judges, highlighted Auckland Transport's significant contribution to aligning speed limits with best international practice and safe system principles. So we were all absolutely stoked with that. The picture at the top is Dave Cliff receiving the award from Prince Michael of Kent. Unfortunately, nobody from the team was allowed to go to London to receive it. However, we did have a little party when the award arrived in Auckland, and that's just some of the amazing team that were involved in delivering the programme. Thank you. The speed programme also was highly commended at the 2023 ACRS Diamond Road Safety Award. And it was noted that the size and scale of the consultation, with almost 12,000 submissions received, was a beacon for other road controlling authorities, both nationally and internationally, to follow. Our residential speed management programme, which was a subset of the overall programme, was awarded the 2024 3M Award from the Transportation Group in New Zealand. And Devonport Town Centre project was awarded, I think it was best project between 2 million and 5 million at the IPWA Awards a couple of weeks ago. And the AT Road Safety Programme was awarded the National Road Safety Excellence Award in New Zealand in 2024. And it was acknowledged that they have been key in reducing deaths and serious injuries across Auckland. And the Speed Programme was recognised as being key in that success. and it's just an excuse for me to put my kilt on. So it was good. And I think that's us. We can take questions at the end if that's okay.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Michael, and congratulations. If you've got a question for Michael about that project, then please pop it in the Q&A. Michael's email address is in the chat too if you want to follow up afterwards. All right, we'll keep moving. So last but definitely not least, we have got Ellie Craft from Port Macquarie Hastings Council on the coast in New South Wales. Now, Ellie's presentation is interactive, so you need to get your mouse ready. So we'll have a few polls for you to participate in as we go. So Ellie's going to be talking about pedestrian priority at driveway safety. So thank you, Ellie.
Thank you very much. So hi, my name is Ellie Craft and I'm the Senior Transport Engineer in Strategy at the Port Macquarie Hastings Council. And today I'm going to be talking about pedestrian priority at footpaths, driveway interaction. And I really want to be clear that this is a kind of just trying to vibe what people think about a low-cost approach using line marking. I'm aware that it's not the #1 approach, but it's just, you know, I was interested. I attended the Active Transport community meetup, and I thought it was really interesting, some of the presentations, and I was like, this would be a cool group to vibe with, and now I'm here presenting to this cool group. Next slide. So starting off with poll 1, who gives way in this picture? Is it the car or is it the pedestrian?
I'm just going to jump in while I'm running the poll. So we've got 73% of people have 10 more seconds for the last few to
be
my Zoom
active
doesn't crash. Yeah.
participants.
All right, I might close the poll now. 3, 2, 1. My Zoom doesn't crash.
Oh.
My Zoom did crash.
We've had a crash.
Yes. Sorry. Okay. There we go. All right. Can we see
No
the
problem.
presentation? And
yes, we can see the presentation.
And
yeah.
Here's the results, if we can see that.
Cool, awesome. So we have a different stat from the last time I presented, and yeah, 88% of people said that the car gives way. Next. So do drivers stop for pedestrians when crossing driveways? So we saw that rule. Now what do we think actually occurs?
Answers are rolling in. All right, so there's 70%.
Perfect.
Okay, I might give you, oh, we've got a few more. All right, I'm going to go in 3, 2, 1 and see if it crashes again.
Awesome. So yeah, we've got that sometimes, which is a little bit alarming. Next.
Okay.
So I just found this image. This is on the left image is from the Queensland government for their safety rules. And it says giving way when entering a road. So they have a rule that cars give way to pedestrians, but on their own road rules page, this is the picture on the left is what they show. And so I was just having a little bit of fun, and I just redesigned it a little bit to have a road design to match and reinforce the road rules. So maybe perhaps we could see an update in the future to show that footpath to be continuous material. So instead of having continuous roading material, we would have the continuation of the footpath. Next. So here we've just got some driveways around Port Macquarie, and you can see that it's it's very changeable. The one on the left, you can see there is 2 driveways where when they were put down, they just went over top of the footpath. And then the one on the right, you can see that continuation, taking a bird's eye view where the footpath has continuation of material. Next slide. And then here we've got this kind of, you can see that there is a pedestrian there, and it's there. They've got a change in material and change in gradient at the conflict point. So even that we have a road rule that says that turning vehicles have to give way, it's very clear that the design doesn't actually necessarily indicate that. And this is in terms of, so this is next slide, which is perfect, is I absolutely love Bicycle Dutch. I don't know if we've got any fans out there, but I'm a huge fan. And this one was about a view from the cycleway, and it's just showing a continuous footpath driveway. So you can see that the path, this is going into a driveway. You can see the path remains continuous with vehicles encountering a yield zone and grade and material change. And the private driveway starts at the private property boundary. So rather than when we saw those images from Port Macquarie Council, that the pavement was continuous, you can see that it's very abrupt, like this is the property boundary and that's where your material of choice begins. Next. And then we have here, we've got, again, this is, while that was at the driveway, we can see in a Dutch context, the continuous footpath at a side street. So again, it's the idea that if you're traveling along the main road, you have priority. So turning vehicles must give way. So there's real obvious yielding. If you're a car coming from a side street or you're a car coming from the main street and you want to turn, you're yielding to those pedestrians and cyclists who are traveling continuously straight on that main road. Next slide. And here, if we click twice, we can see that in our own design standards at Port Macquarie Hastings Council, we actually allow both designs. So we allow people to either design driveways where they just pour it in one go, or we have ones where they actually have a continuation of the footpath. So next. So I was really excited that I'm always expecting people to say no, but actually when I went over to the delivery team, I was like, hey, you know, I've got this new cool idea, and I got a really cool response. So this is from the group manager, Chris Favaliero, and he said, some of the challenges encountered in the past include decorative or high cost driveway finishes, which are expected to be replaced like for like by the property owner, which we inevitably as the council struggle to meet, particularly where surface finishes are aged and appear in stark contrast to a newly constructed equivalent, e.g. stencil finishes, exposed aggregate. Next. And there's again, I got a great positive response from the development engineer manager, Grant Burge, at our local council. And he said the current situation with new driveways is that the applicant has the option to either leave the path in place and construct a concrete driveway either side, or remove the path and construct a new concrete for the full verge width. At present, the driveway are constructed under Section 138 of the Roads Act, which allows for residents to build their own structure within the road reserve. And he said the development engineering would not object to your proposal, as it would reduce waste where brand new footpaths are cut, removed and disposed of for driveway construction. What I found interesting talking to Grant was that it was cool. He was also pro just having continuous footpaths in our design standards, but he made the point that he still liked the idea of encouraging to have the private owner build the driveway rather than having it right to the boundary, because that would be an extra cost to council to take on, which I thought was quite interesting. So they were still hoping that there was some kind of contribution of material layout by the private owner. Next slide. And yeah, here we're just going to do some clicking. I just thought I'd show that this is a driveway, and you can see this is the concrete joint. So this is what one of the designs you can see here, that the joints match the footpath. So they delineate the footpath. Whereas if you see the next click, you'll see that you don't have the continuation material of the driveway. And this is like, people just assume that that it's normal to just pour the whole driveway, but it makes a huge difference when suddenly you've got something that those joints are really delineating the footpath. So the problem, drivers often fail to yield to pedestrians and cyclists at driveways despite the road rules. The existing council design standards did not reinforce the law, and retrofitting design on a constrained budget. So what I wanted to be clear about is that, like, it was really cool to see internally we can do something about those designs going forth of retrofitting. They're very happy to just have a continuous footpath showing on design standards. But what really intrigued me was, like, it would be great to have a utopia with an endless budget, but within a really restricted budget, like, are there some kind of designs we can do? So next slide. So goal 1, change council design standards to require continuous footpaths over driveways. Tick, we've got some agreement internally. And goal 2, explore a low-cost, scalable retrofit solution using line markings. Next slide. So this was a design when I just happened to go past. This is a section on Hastings River Drive in Port Macquarie where there's just a lot of commercial driveways. And so I've just come up very dirtily with, it's got stop lines, I think a click, and shark teeth and driveway edges. And so I just kind of made this line design from what I saw in those bicycle Dutch, or those continuous footpath and side street treatment in the Netherlands. So pros and cons. So pros, cheap, quick deployment, trial friendly, reinforces an existing rule. And cons, does it slow vehicles down, the wear and tear. And something to really consider is that major safety issues should always be addressed. But if we did a program of line marking treatment, does it create ambiguity about whether the existing road rule must be followed? So, like, is this the real response we want when drivers should already be respecting giving way to active mode users? Next slide. So the poll 3, do you think line markings alone are a cost-effective retrofit? So this little design that I've done, do you think it would work?
Okay, just open that up and letting the answers roll in. Oh, there. Come in thick and fast, up to
Yay!
65%, 72.
Oh,
There we go.
those are the marks we're after.
All right, I'm gonna give it 3, 2, 1. I'm gonna end that and then share the results.
Cool. So that's, yeah, interesting to see. 50% yes, and no by 8%, maybe by 40%. So yeah, that's encouraging.
Okay. Next slide.
Next. So design factors that impact driveway road conflict point risk profile. And so this is what I always talk about when we do, I always like to, I'm losing my thought a little bit, but I always bring people to the triangle about risk exposure. And, you know, a lot of the times people look to those lower end treatments, but, like, what is really the issue? What is the safety risk? And so, you know, how does the number of vehicles using the driveway impact risk? Like, what is the exposure amount at that driveways? How does the average speed impact conflict risk? So exposure and speed are, as we know in road safety, really important. And what changes improve adequate warnings? Those are kind of 3 kind of important factors to consider at the conflict point. Next slide. So now we've seen the line marking that I came up with. What other low cost, I reiterate, low cost measures could reinforce pedestrian priority? So this is just a typing one, type some words in.
A bit more generous with the time for this one. Okay, some people providing answers.
There's no wrong answers, as always. Just what are some low cost measures?
Yeah, we've got 8 responses, 9, so we'll maybe give it another 30 odd seconds.
And you can answer more than once, I believe.
So, okay. Got up to 13, 14. Maybe we'll give
Perfect.
15 more
that's fine.
seconds. Or...
Yeah.
Okay. A few more answers coming in. All right, I'm going to call it in 5 seconds. So 5, 4, 3, 2.
The expense is
1.
killing.
Okay. Let's share the results. Okay. Now, what can people see? I can't actually see.
We can only see short answers. So
Okay.
maybe it's something we just need to share at the end, and that's fine.
Okay. Yep.
Just to
Possibly.
keep it moving, we can just post it in the chat. I'm sure people would love to see.
Yep. Okay.
And so the next one is, this is what I found was quite, yeah, cool. Thanks, Alex. We'll pop them in the chat. So this was quite funny. So I was obviously intrigued by this idea of looking into a low-cost retrofit. And then I had a little squirrel tell me the day before I presented to the Active Transport Committee that the Queensland Department of Transport and Main Roads did a great study in 2021 that was called the Treatment Options to Improve Safety of Pedestrian, Bicycle Riders and Other Path Users at Driveways. Next. So what was really cool is that it went through, I think there was 28 treatments for looking at like what could be a treatment fix for these conflict points. And then it looked at, I can't quite see, but I believe it's adequate warning, speed, exposure, and then implementation complexity. So really matching like I really enjoyed it for, like, it really considered what are the risks and the safety risks, and how do those treatments improve it on those 3 factors of speed, exposure, and adequate warning. But then also, what is the complexity of actually implementing it? So this one here is number 18 is that continuous footpath treatment, which we talked about would hopefully be fixed with the design standards. Next. Brett, are we okay for next? Oh, okay, we've missed a couple, but that's all right. Oh, okay, yeah, so here is number 17 was the coloured pavement markings at a conflict point. So this is the kind of idea that I was looking to vibe with on just line marking. And so they said warning, it's weak, exposure, medium, but complexity is really low. So that was really interesting, because then you can see, for example, number 19 is like, you know, remove or reallocate vehicles access to safer locations. Really good for adequate warning, you know, medium for improving speeds, and very strong for reducing exposure, but highly complex to change. So it's interesting. It's a really cool. I really encourage people to read this research, because it really goes through those comparing on those 4 factors. Next slide. So this is cool to see that there is actually a design suggestion from Canberra, where they show what they would recommend on local roads versus on areas of commercial or multi-residential dwelling sites. So that's cool. That's in Design Guide. Next. And whoop. Wellington, New Zealand represent. I'm a New Zealander, and this was cool to see design done for Wellington, where the cycle path passes through a lot of industrial, over a lot of industrial driveways. So that was, yeah. And so next we have our poll 5. What do you see as the biggest barrier to implement this approach, this line marking retrofit design?
So we'll just let those short answers come in. We might need to do it pretty quickly, because I know we're getting up to time. I think the Zoom meeting should allow us to go over, but if anyone needs to drop out, then that's all understood. But hopefully most of you can hang on for a few more minutes.
We don't have much more.
Yeah.
So yeah. So what do you see as the biggest barriers to implementing this approach?
Yeah, I might give 30 more seconds just to let people to tap out their answers. So we've got about 20 seconds left. Good, we've got about 12 responses so far, 13. All right, 10 seconds to go.
Cool.
So, yep, and then wrap that up in 3, 2, 1. All right, let's end that one.
Thanks, Brett. And we can hopefully post those in the chat for those answers.
Yep.
Yeah, because it's always interesting to see. So where should we start testing this approach? That's my next question. So where there are large commercial vehicles and high pedestrian areas and low pedestrian areas where pedestrians are least expected, or on roads with speeds above 60 kilometres. You've got one answer. So just quickly have a guess at where you would put it if you were intuitively going to put it anywhere.
Yep, answers are rolling in.
Awesome.
Might give a few more seconds. Yeah, there we go. All right, I might close it in 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1. There we go. And we'll share those results.
Cool. So the 59% said in high pedestrian areas, 20% where there are large commercial vehicles, 14% in low pedestrian areas where pedestrians are least expected, and 9% on roads with speeds above 60 kilometres. So next. So this is interesting with those kind of results, is to learn that in that report from Queensland, 252 Sunshine Coast driveway crashes were analysed, and a third of the crashes involved reversing vehicles. So that was a big factor, predominantly residential. And then 2/3 of the crashes on roads were on posted speeds over 60 kilometres. So it was actually the road speed that were coming off when they were entering the driveway that was the largest factor. Next slide. And so again, this is another reason to read the report, common driveway layout risk profiles. So they've gone through like all the different types of driveways and looked at their risk profiles. Next slide. So next step, gather feedback from the session. So we're going to look through the polls and identify some potential trial locations in Port Macquarie. And I'm really big on monitoring and evaluating the effectiveness of before and after, and adjust based on community response. So next slide. Thank you very much from myself, Ellie Craft, and from the Port Macquarie Hastings Council.
Wonderful. Thanks, Ellie. And thank you, Brett, for driving the polls. That went pretty seamlessly despite the crash in the middle. There was a couple of Q&As that were there, but they have just dropped off. Ellie, one that's in the chat, though, is that can you just pop in the chat the name of that document you're referring to from Queensland?
I might just jump in because we can see the questions are answered. So David asked about a question, Nicole, about if the program can be made available to councils outside of WA. I'll maybe answer that is that I've been where I can telling different people in Austroads with their doing reports there to consider Vanguards and what's happening in WA as a model for upskilling people in local government. So I don't know, Nicole, if you want to say anything there, but that's my my take on it. I think it's fantastic and something that should be replicated elsewhere. The other one was a question to Michael about with the government in New Zealand, the new revised speed limit rule, and will Auckland Transport look to reduce many of the speed limits back down that have been raised due to the government's decision? I don't know, Michael, if you want to answer that one quickly. I know you've written a response, but...
So we might go Nicole first and then Michael. Yep.
At the moment, the Vanguards is for WA local governments only, with the hope that everyone is gaining some learning insights from what we're doing and roll it out throughout Australia. It would be great.
Excellent. Michael, has Michael dropped off? Just looked like he disappeared.
He might have, yeah.
Yeah, Michael's dropped off.
He's
come back.
He might have had a Zoom crash too.
It's the day for it. Michael, did you want to have a go at answering your question?
Yep. Is it the one around the reversals?
Yeah.
I just need to be really careful how I answer that because it's highly political at the moment. We're committed to, can I put it in answer, but committed to listening to the communities. And so where we're going to get strong desire to return the speed limits, we will work with them and sticking within the rule because we're obviously a law-abiding organisation and do as we're told. We will work with them to see where we can possibly reintroduce lower speed limits. It's quite difficult at the moment.
Thanks, Michael. All right, I'm happy to wrap it up. So if you do think of a question overnight that you wanted to reach out to our presenters, they have popped their emails in the chat. We can distribute that and also the results of the polls from Ellie, the free text polls. So I just want to plug that the next event for the LGN is on the 11th of June, 2 o'clock Australian Eastern Standard Time. That will be an open mic session. It is live, so you can register for it now. And that's if you're new to the LGN, that's the meeting format where you get to pre-register a question that you'd like to ask the Brains Trust. So thank you everybody for joining us during National Road Safety Week. Thanks to our presenters for sharing your time and knowledge. Have a wonderful rest of the week, and we will see you hopefully at the June event.